Okay, hi guys. Just going to run you through the ethological theory of aggression, and I'll try and be as quick as possible after your complaints. Okay, here we go. Straight from the spec, just to get you used to the kind of words that we're going to be looking at. The ethological explanation of aggression, including reference to innate releasing mechanisms and fixed action patterns. So you're going to need to know what these are by the end. And then we've obviously looked at neurohormonal and genetic factors. We will now look at the ethological explanation of aggression with specific factors on those above. Okay, so make sure you're note taking here. You don't want to write all this down, just the key words, key terms. So the ethological explanation has come out of work from Lorenz and Timbergen. Okay, they looked at study of animal behaviour under natural conditions to determine whether certain behavioural responses are innate rather than learned, and hope you understand the word innate. So ethologists would claim that aggression is natural and innate behaviour that is necessary to make sure we have access to food and mates. And watching any David Attenborough show and things like that, there's always the kind of battle for food and or partners. Lorenz carried out numerous observations of non-human animals and concluded that males in particular are biological programmed to fight over resources. As humans are also subject to laws of natural selection, Lorenz believed that his conclusions could be applied to human behaviour and claimed that aggression is a highly adaptive response that ensures that individuals who are most aggressive have control over food, territory and mating, making their genes more likely to be passed on. Okay, with these questions, I think you could do them now if you so wish, and put them in your notes. I think probably the best would be to either make a note of them or just make a note to look back over this PowerPoint when you're revising, and maybe just use these as your kind of revision questions to make sure that you know what's going on. First of all, so we've got these two terms from the spec: innate releasing mechanisms and fixed action patterns. According to Lorenz, 1938, aggression is an innate releasing mechanism that is hardwired in the human brain and triggered by the accumulation of action-specific energy. As the diagram of a cylinder illustrates below, this accumulation can cause increased internal pressure, leading to the release of aggressive behaviour when an individual is confronted with a specific situation known as a sign stimulus. So he's saying every one of us, animals, everyone is this pot. Okay, when the pot, the pressure rises because of, whether it's food, trying to find food, whether it's trying to find mates, whether it's, whatever it may be, the pressure rises, and then eventually this lid will come off, and the aggression will be shown. Again, just note forms, please. Lorenz went on to claim that IRM's instinctive response to a specific sign, stimulus or trigger innates a fixed action pattern characterized by a coordinated set of sequence behaviors that once initiated cannot be stopped. And I'll talk you through this a little bit more. They investigated this claim by looking at aggressive behavior in male stickleback fish and found that the sign stimulus for the specific sequence of aggression displayed was not the pressure of another rival male in the territory, but the sight of the other male's red underbelly. So they did various experiments. The sticklebacks, they get very territorial when they're in mating season, and they also get this red belly, just an average looking fish, a stickleback. And they found that it wasn't necessarily another stickleback in their territory that would make them angry. It was just this red underbelly, this red mark that led to what they said were these fixed action patterns. Fixed action responses of it would get very aggressive, it would get very territorial, it would show particular ways of swimming and do particular actions that they're saying are, once they set off, they keep going all the way through. They're a sequence, they don't stop, all of these things they found in sticklebacks. Ulrich and Azrin in 1962 found that when two rats were given electric shocks, their innate releasing mechanism triggered a fixed action response to the pain in which the rats attack one another. So again, some more evidence from animals, and that's one of the large evaluation points when we get to it, but from animals that have found that when if you think about these, the cylinders, there's certain triggers that blow off that lid, and the fixed action pattern happens everywhere. Sticklebacks in America, sticklebacks in Africa, rats in Africa, rats in Europe, all of them would show these same fixed action patterns, and there they find the proof for the existence of the IRMs. Again, just some questions for you. You could just go through them quickly now. Make sure that you could, just in your head or jot them down, whatever it may be. These are the kind of questions that they could ask regards to what we've also looked at so far. All the rest is area 3. Okay, so you got, I think there's 3 or 4 points here, and then we can discuss one or more. Opponents of Lorenz argue that aggression is far more complicated. So paragraph 1, aggression is far more complicated than just this idea of a cylinder that something triggers and the bit blows off. The idea that we've got at least 2 different types of behaviour. You've got benign aggression, similar to instinctive behaviour displayed by animals. This form of aggression is impulsive act with the aim of defending someone or protecting them from danger. So we do have these responses. Sometimes people are getting interviewed maybe after something's happened, a riot or whatever, and somebody's a hero. How did you do that? And they're just kind of, it just happens. You get lots of people that say you just go with it. So maybe this is the benign aggression. This, it is deep within us, and it does come out when certain things happen. The second type of aggression is not innate behaviour. It is the act of evil specifically aimed at harming someone or a random act of violence with no real purpose or meaning. So there are obviously people that are aggressive that you can't say, oh, that's because they were looking to get mates, or that's because they were looking to get resources. There are some people that have shown high levels of what they're classifying as evil aggression with no purpose or meaning. So there's these second ideas, and that starts to bring in the idea of free will and determinism, which you may want to have as one of your paragraphs. As a result of the complicated nature of aggression, Fromm believed that aggression is the outcome of an interaction between the individual's genetic makeup, environment, and social structure. Okay, so that is the kind of reductionist paragraph. If you want it, you could stick that together into the reductionist paragraph that other people but do believe that it's actually a bit of genetics, a bit of environment, and a bit of social structure. According to Crook 1973, aggression manifests itself when the social structure is disrupted and an individual is forced to adjust to new situations where they may encounter overcrowding or lack of food. Okay, so that's a secondary point, basically saying that it does happen, and maybe in 1973 Crook found that it was mainly when it was the person's social structure being disorganised led to aggression. Another main one here, AO3, finally, although brain imaging and scanning has identified the areas of the brain responsible for the release of fixed action patterns, the human physiological system does not accumulate action-specific energy as proposed by Lorenz. Therefore, the ethological explanation lacks scientific evidence and validity. So that's a good AO3 paragraph to finish it off there. Again, just 2 more questions for you to either have a look at now. We've got the reductionist one. Why would it be? Maybe you could write out the reductionist paragraph, have a go at it. And where, if you were to draw from nature to nurture on a line, okay, nature and nurture, where do you think the ethological explanation lies? And that's always quite a good thing to think about as to regards to your AO3 paragraphs. There you go, 7 minutes. Laters.